Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great. Welcome to this new video right here on the market, your middle of the day market update. Again, in the middle of the day, or at least a little bit later actually, but still. We're going to do a full update on the crypto markets today. We have to speak about the fundamentals first. Then we'll talk about Bitcoin, and I want to show some specific things for Bitcoin. My Wi-Fi has been acting up, so hopefully that will help us a little bit in this video. But there's some specific interesting things that I think we need to know about for Bitcoin. We will zoom in a little bit as well, because this morning we did speak about the possibility of a pullback like this, especially on majors, right? So especially on XRP, on Ethereum. So what's happening right now is not completely against our expectations. But I personally did expect a better reaction from Bitcoin. And the fact that so far we haven't really seen that strong of a reaction, I think means something. And I think because of that, you need to be ready for some more bearish pressure as well. But we'll speak about that in a moment. First of all, talking about the fundamentals. And by the way, we'll talk about XRP, we'll talk about Ethereum, even though I think the videos I made this morning are still completely valid, right? So if you watch those and if you still remember what I said, you're still prepared for everything that's going on right now, right? I mean, nothing has happened that we did not speak about in those videos, which would also be strange if the videos of this morning would no longer be valid about 6 hours later, but okay. So ultimately what we've seen is a bit of a bearish opening right here from the equity market. All right. And that's, I think this is normal price action, especially after a week like we had last week. The volatility index did get a bit of a jump during the New York Open today, but it's not problematic. And if you take a look at gold, for example, that is rallying right here, but it has lost some momentum, and I don't see this sustainably breaking out. I mean, for gold to sustainably break out, obviously there's some instability politically in the US, and there's some instability in general politically in the world, with tariffs and right now potentially the main case is between the US and India. And India's purchases of Russian oil, whatever. This is not a video to get into that. But ultimately, even though that's causing the unrest and the instability in the financial markets to increase a little bit as well, which we can also see by gold, I don't think gold is going to break out. Obviously, it's definitely worth it to keep your eyes on the fundamentals. You should, and I will too, and I will keep you updated on that. But as it stands right now, instability is increasing, but the price action is also relatively normal, right? I mean, we left an imbalance down below with the stock market, which you can see right here, and now we're filling that. And there's a gap down a little bit lower as well. We filled the gap we left over Thursday and Friday last week. This is normal price action. I'm not too worried about that. However, we should look at our cryptos. And based on the fact that we have lost the uptrend here, or at least that we're struggling to continue the uptrend with equities, does that also mean that crypto is going to fall lower, right? Because ultimately equities are quite strong, and they're relatively seen as risk off compared to crypto. And crypto is quite risky. So we could see some bearish pressure for crypto. Now, is that also going to happen, right? Talking about Bitcoin, I think short term for Bitcoin, it's actually best to be safe here. Because what you can see is that we initially, like the main support level I was looking at, is this naked point of control right here. And initially you can see we got a good reaction there, right here. But now we have lost that, and we have lost that with quite a lot of volume, and that's something I do not like. All right, especially knowing that Tuesday is normally a bit of a good day for Bitcoin. Seeing that is not the case right now, and seeing us not respect that level, in my opinion, is not great. Now, do I think it's completely over? Do I think we do not have a chance to bounce back up again? No, I mean, this could be a simple test to just test the lows again right here. So towards 112,000, but then over the course of the next 16 hours, whatever, I do need to see a strong recovery. All right, so I do need to see Bitcoin at least, get a bounce like this and get back up to those levels around 115,000. If we can do that, this is fine. And this is just testing the bottoms, testing buyer conviction, and I can still see us getting into 116.4, which was always my main price target. But if we are unable to do this, and if we see continued bearish pressure coming from the equity market as well, which again, fundamentals do really rule this. So then the main level I'm looking at is this level right here at 113.7. If we're unable to reclaim that, relatively soon, so let's say in the next 24 hours, I think it's more likely that we're going to drop down lower into that main support level right here at 111 and 110,000. And I've said this before, or this is a way I like to think about the markets, as we haven't reclaimed that level with strength right now. And there's also not very much a reason, or there's not very much an indication that we are going to reclaim that. I would say it's better to assume that we're going to drop down lower. That's the safest way to think about this. All right, so that we are going to drop down into that level right here between 111 and 110,000, which in my opinion is a pretty decent buy area. So those are my thoughts on Bitcoin here. Better safe than sorry. Ethereum is doing fine. It's pulling back into that level at 3,500. I expect that to hold, which is what I said this morning as well. XRP, same thing. It's pulling back into that main support level between 2.95, 2.85. I expect that to hold as well. XRP is actually relatively stable here. And when we talk about altcoins, we knew about this as well, right? I mean, if you go to the 12-hour time frame with altcoins, we knew this imbalance to the downside. And now it's very much about this level right here at $268 billion. Get a strong reaction there, and we can still see bullish altcoins for the rest of this week. I know, sounds strange, but it is a possibility. Get a weak reaction there, and it's better to stay safe a bit. But that's still looking fine. Now, a couple of altcoins that I wanted to speak about here. First of all, I still think you need to pay attention to the Ethereum beta. Since Ethereum, out of all the majors right now, is by far the strongest. I think Ethereum beta, so Lido DAO, ENS, Pendle, what have we, Aave, etc. I think that's still a narrative to keep your eyes on, even though that doesn't necessarily mean buy now. And then Litecoin is incredibly strong. We also bought that in the Signal group, so I'm very happy about that. But huge momentum here. Actually, almost crossed the momentum we had the 20th of July, even though the circumstances right now are much more low volume. And then last of all, we have some scam rallies coming up. So we see some momentum coming into gas. Interesting to look at, but very risky, but also into super rare, right? So that's this one. There we go. This one right here. Keep your eyes on those, but like I said, they're extremely risky, and you should only trade those if you have a lot of experience. But those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on the markets for now. Hopefully that helps. But for now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.